Hey, what's up, guys? You're here with Goran from Pickdawgz, and you are here for your free picks from the EPL on Saturday, April 1st. Well, guys, the club football is finally back after those international games we had going on, and we had three games on Friday. None of those were in the EPL, but we do have seven games on Saturday in the EPL, and the first one is that big one between Manchester City and Liverpool. The pick for that game you can find in a separate video. While in this video we'll be covering the other six games, and those are pretty exciting as well because we have Arsenal playing against Leeds, we have Chelsea hosting Aston Villa, Leicester and Crystal Palace will be battling out, and so on and so on. And then of course we have some other videos up on the Pick Dawgz YouTube channel with the picks from all the other top 5 European football leagues, so make sure you check that as well, guys. Get the rest of your free picks, and of course subscribe to the Pick Dawgz YouTube channel. Let's get it going, guys. The first game we have to talk about is between Arsenal and Leeds United. We have Arsenal, the team that's still at the top of the table, the team that is the biggest favorite right now, at least in my opinion, to win the EPL. And they won't need much, I don't know, many more points, I would say, because I'm pretty sure that Manchester City will slip up somewhere because they are still competing in the Champions League, and that will kind of take a bit of their focus. But I think that Arsenal is definitely playing some outstanding football this season. Uh, they haven't lost to Leeds in their last 5 games, and when playing at home, Arsenal hasn't lost to Leeds in their last 7 games overall. Now, at home this season, Arsenal has lost only once. They have 11 wins and 2 draws. And let's be honest, even though Leeds is playing a little bit better as of late, they are still not that good of a team on the road. They're conceding a lot of goals, and I think that Arsenal definitely deserves to be the favorite that they are here. I could have gone with Arsenal and over 2.5 or something like that, but I decided to go with Arsenal to score in both halves at minus 118 in this one. I think that Arsenal will try to put this one to bed as soon as possible. They usually score in the first half in most of their games. They're playing really well. They're creating a lot of chances, and I think this is going to be one of those games as well. So Arsenal to score in both halves at minus 118. In the second matchup of the EPL, guys, we have Bournemouth hosting Fulham. And Fulham is actually on a 3-game losing streak right now. They lost to Brentford in the EPL, then to Arsenal in the EPL, and then they lost to Manchester United in the FA Cup quarterfinals. And that was the game where they got, what, 3 or 4 red cards or something like that. And Mitrovic is suspended. I'm not sure how many games he got, but he will be suspended for a longer period of time. And on top of that, Willian is suspended as well. Kurzawa is injured, and Kebano is injured as well. Now, these 4 players are some of the best players that Fulham has, and they will definitely miss them here. While Bournemouth on the other side is still fighting to stay in the EPL. They are now in 19th place with 24 points. That is in the relegation zone. However, they did have some positive results as of late, and their chances are improving. Game after game for them to stay in the EPL. Like I said, Fulham has lost 3 games in a row right now, and they are without their top scorer. And it's not going to be an easy task for them to get a positive result out of this game. But even without those players, I definitely think they can get to the scoreboard because, let's be honest, Bournemouth defense is not among the best in the league. So I'm going with both teams to score in this one. It's minus 122. I think that's a fantastic price on an excellent pick, and should be quite a competitive game here. Brighton and Brentford are facing off as well in EPL, guys, and we have 2 teams that have been pretty consistent overall this season. But Brighton has been outstanding in their last 5 games. They have 4 wins and a draw, while Brentford has lost 2 of their last 6 games, and they're also a pretty solid team, pretty effective team, the team that can score a lot of goals. And I think this is going to be a fairly competitive matchup with a lot of chances, and I think it's going to be quite an open game because I feel that both teams will go for the win here. I would have to give advantage to Brighton at home because Brentford is missing a few players because of the injuries or suspensions. and they haven't been as effective and dominant on the road as they are at home. Now, Brighton at home on the other side has scored 22 goals in 13 games, conceded only 11. That's less than a goal per game, and they are actually one of the best home teams in the league. They are pretty much healthy, and I believe they still feel they can get to that Conference League or maybe even the Europa League spot because they are not that far away. Uh, Brighton is in seventh place with 42 points, and they are now. Let me just take a quick look here. They are now only 5 points away from the Champions League spot actually, and they are tied with Liverpool for that Europa League spot. So actually Conference League spot. So Brighton still has a lot to play for. So does Brentford, and for that reason, I think both sides will go for the win. Both sides will go for a positive result, and I'm gonna go with both teams to score once again. It's minus 125. As soon as either team gets on the scoreboard, the game is gonna get fully opened, and we're gonna see a lot more chances and some fantastic football between these two sides. Crystal Palace and Leicester, like I said, guys, will be battling in this EPL matchup. It's still 10 a.m. time slot, and these two are struggling quite a lot. Crystal Palace hasn't won any of their last 13 games. They fired Patrick Vieira, who was their head coach. On his place, they signed Roy Hodgson, who, after that signing, became the oldest coach to ever coach a team in the EPL, but even with him at the helm, they ended up losing against Arsenal. And I'm not sure what has to happen for Crystal Palace to get back on the winning track. I'm sure that this losing streak will end at some point. Is it going to be against Leicester here? It's quite possible because Leicester hasn't won any of their last 6 games. They have been struggling a lot. They are sinking deeper and deeper in the standings. They are getting very, very close to the relegation zone, and all they can do is suffer through this season, get to the end, stay in the league, and then shift focus to next season. And hopefully, they can do better than they have been doing this season. Defensively, neither side is doing that good of a job, especially Leicester, who conceded 47 goals in 27 games. While Crystal Palace has 38 conceded goals in 28 games. But offensively, Leicester has been a lot better than Crystal Palace has. And for that reason, I think that's gonna offset itself a little bit here. And I just don't see either side keeping a clean sheet. So I'm gonna go with both teams to score at over 2.5. We can see that the books are kind of expecting it as well because it's minus 154. That's a pretty hefty price on a pick like this. But honestly, I think this one could go either way. So I decided to stay away from sides, and I'm going to take the goals. So let's hope for a great matchup between these two sides. In the next matchup, guys, still 10 a.m., we have Nottingham Forest hosting Wolverhampton. And once again, they are the underdogs, as they should be. And I know there has been rumors that Nottingham Forest will fire Steve Cooper as their head coach. I mean, there's not much he could have done given all the injuries that Nottingham Forest has had throughout the entire season, and they still have them. When you look at their injury report, there's 9 players who will miss this game for sure, and then there's a bunch of players who are still kind of questionable for this matchup. Some of them might be ready, some of them might not, but then again, we have to kind of question their fitness and the chemistry with other players because they have been out for so long. I don't think that anything can help Nottingham Forest this season. I think that all they can do is play their best to stay in the league and hope they can do a lot better next season, but I don't think they can expect much more out of this season. As far as Wolverhampton goes, they have climbed out of the relegation zone. They have climbed almost to the top half of the table. They're now in 13th place. They have only 1 win in their last 6 games, yes, but they have far less injuries, which means that they have a lot more depth than Nottingham Forest has. And they have been a lot more effective in that attacking end than they have been at the start of the season. All of that is thanks to Lopetegui, who was signed somewhere around just before the World Cup, I believe, and that's when Wolverhampton started to change. That's when they started to improve. Of course, we haven't seen much more of that after the World Cup, but they have been, like I said, a bit more effective in the attacking end, still pretty solid defensively, and I think if they are going to win a game on the road, it's going to be against Nottingham Forest. So I'm going to give this one a shot at Wolverhampton on the money line, plus 147. Like I said, they have more depth right now. Pretty much their key players are healthy and ready to play. And overall, I think that they have been doing a lot better job this season than Nottingham Forest has. So I'm going to give it a shot at this price, and hopefully this one will hit, guys. It's plus 147. I think it's definitely worth a shot here. And the last game of this video, guys, is between Chelsea and Aston Villa. These two teams were definitely not in favor of going to the international break because they were in a pretty good form, undefeated in their last 4 games. Both teams have won 3 of their last 4 games. And especially Chelsea, who is still hoping to get to that Europa League spot or Conference League spot or something. They have to keep playing well, and they are still playing in the Champions League as well against Real Madrid. They will face them on April 12th, so in a couple of weeks or so. But it's important to keep their form up. And just before the international break, their offense started producing a little bit more. They were creating a little bit better chances. They were creating more chances, and they became a little bit more effective. We'll see if they can repeat that even now after the international break. But they're facing this very solid Aston Villa team, the team that was scoring goals consistently, the team that kept a few clean sheets as well, and the team that is actually equal on points with Chelsea. So same as Chelsea, Aston Villa has a decent chance of getting to the Conference League spot if they can stay consistent. Now, when playing at home, Chelsea hasn't lost to Aston Villa in their last 8 games. And overall, I think they have a little bit more quality on their roster, and I think they have a little bit more depth. But I do see a lot of those questionable players because of the injuries. We'll see who's going to be ready, who's not going to be ready. But I expect a very, very competitive matchup between these two sides, especially because I think that Aston Villa feels like they can get a win here. If not a win, they can get a positive result. In order for them to get a positive result, they will need to score a goal. So I'm going to go with both teams to score in over 2.5. Minus 175. Also pretty expensive. But I do believe that it's worth maybe putting this in a double with Crystal Palace and Leicester. Both teams to score in over 2.5. For that, we'll get a nice plus money. But as far as this game goes as a single, both teams to score in over 2.5 is pretty much the only way I'm willing to go with this one. That's it, everyone. These were free picks from the EPL on Saturday. Thank you for joining me. Here we have 7 games scheduled, and you can find the pick for that Manchester City against Liverpool game, the first game of the day in EPL, in a separate video. And of course, if you want my best bets, click the link in the description of this video, and that will get you up to my page where you can sign up and see what else I have up there. That's it, guys. Have a great Saturday. Good luck with your bets, and I'll see you soon with more free picks.